What's up guys, it's Farie. Today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of my framework, the ODCAM framework that I normally just use to plug and play within the team internally. So this framework basically is built for our team to operate at a high level and cut through the noise and drive results in every domain. So it's not just a framework that we use to apply in just one aspect, which is business, but we also use it in business, leadership, product development, or personal execution. So you can use it in basically any domain of your life. It just depends how you use it. And it's a plug and play decision framework that anchors thinking, execution, and results. So it is mainly designed to eliminate inefficiencies, drive clarity, and ensure ROI. So we'll just get into everything as we go, but in short, it's not a business tactic. It's a universal operating system that allows us to solve complex problems and execute with speed and precision. So OCDAM stands for objectives, decisions, clarification, action, and measurement. So if we're going through these steps, you'll see how they all intertwine together to help us provide as much value as possible in every domain that we use this for. In product development or even offer creation, we always use this, and I always use it personally to help me understand what are the bottlenecks and also to drive clarity with precision and speed. So with this framework, we can just go through it. We can start with objectives. So each and every point has three main ideas, which is the purpose, core principle, and the question or ask, which is the purpose is for objectives. It is define the end result, which the purpose would be establish the exact goal that delivers ROI. So with that comes a core principle, which is without a clear objective, you're lost. No direction means no process, which means that you need to have a defined goal that you need to reach in terms of this decision making or the process that we follow. And then you have a main question that you ask for each step, which is what is the specific outcome that we need to achieve here that creates value and solves a high level problem. So an example of all of these combined could be we need to deliver a custom CRM system that automates 80% of the client's sales plus operations, or launch a new website that increases conversions by 25%, which is the main objective that we need to hit. Also, we can have an objective of, say, close 3 high ticket clients at 10K per month in the next 30 days. So all of these are mainly towards the objectives, so that you have an objective, because without an objective, you're just shooting at the sky with no defined target. So this is super important because you need to know where you're going. And with this comes a plug and play template. So for example, we can say the objective of this project is to insert tangible outcome by this specific date. This will create value by insert ROI/impact, which is also very important because you need to have an ROI as to why you have this objective, because it's supposed to create a certain amount of impact or an ROI within the business or the project that we're working in. And with this comes the second point, which is decisions, to cut through noise and create leverage, which is also very important, which the three main ideas for this one is what is the purpose? The purpose for decisions would be to identify the key choices to move with precision, and then the core principle of that would be indecision is the killer of progress. Make the calls that shift momentum. So with that now comes the main question that you should ask yourself, which is what decisions must we make now that move us forward fast? So with that, an example of that could be, let's say we're doing product development and we need to decide which tech stack will deliver speed and flexibility as well as scalability into the future. So with this, we need to understand what the decisions are that are in between the main objective to help us get there. And this is super important, because without understanding the decisions, the key decisions, and also ranking them, saying like which decisions are most important and which aren't, we're not going to understand which actions we need to take. And with that, which features are non-negotiable in this build. And also we can say what are we prioritizing, speed or customization here, which help us all make the defined outcome foreseeable. So with this, we can use the plug and play template and say, to hit the objective, we must decide on decision 1, decision 2, decision 3, with each of them unlocking a new phase of action within the business and the project scope. So with that then comes clarification, which kills uncertainty. So the purpose of this is to ensure zero ambiguity so that everyone is aligned. Because if everyone is not aligned, there are going to be things that people aren't going to fully understand, and you need to understand all the aspects and all the factors that might come into play. It might even be the second one that we're talking about, decisions. Like, if you don't understand the decisions that we're supposed to take, how are you going to know like what actions we're supposed to take that will yield an ROI or impact in the long run? And with that comes the core principle, which is ambiguity destroys execution, precision builds momentum. So with that then comes the main question that we ask, which is, where are we unclear or misaligned that could cost us time/money, which is important in what we're building. Because if it costs us time or money, then then that means that we need to solve that problem of that ambiguity. So without clear direction, we need to understand like what are the bottlenecks, what are the things that we might not understand as a team, and then solve that as quick as possible. And with that, we can have an example of, is the client 100% clear on the scope and timeline? Are the developers clear on the data that needs to be stored and accessed? Or are we aligned with the roles, deadlines, and dependencies? There are a multitude of different factors that play into this, but we just need to make sure that we're able to clear out all the ambiguities so that we all have a clear sense of direction as to what we need to do in terms of the project scope. And with this, we have a plug and play template, which is basically current ambiguities are, we list the points and then we clarify by how, with who, and by when. And this helps us in then understanding and putting it down on, like written format, so that we can then look at it later on down the line to see where the bottlenecks truly are in terms of our understanding. And is our understanding framework working within the business? Like, are we solving the unclear parts as effectively as we can be? And then we basically work off of that. And the fourth one being action, which is to execute relentlessly. And the purpose of this is to translate clarity into motion with ownership. So the core principle here will be, action cures fear, execution creates proof. And then the question that I would ask you is, what is the next highest leverage step that we need to take right now in order to solve this problem that we are solving for our clients? And this one could be in the form of assign Figma design to team member by which date, and then the backend developer, or we can say backend developer sprint to start by this date and then deliver the MVP by this date. And then we can also say like, hey, the client feedback review is scheduled for this date. So it's all about just taking action in this specific step. And then the plug and play template for this would be, actions for this sprint are action number 1 with the owner plus the deadline, action number 2 with the owner plus the deadline, and then action number 3, no delays, no excuse. Because if you sign it, then people are supposed to take ownership, and if you take ownership, then it's going to be your responsibility. Whereas if you don't take ownership, it's just going to be like, hey, this is something that we all have to do, and then you're going to start pointing fingers because things are unclear. And this framework helps you in solving all those main points. And then now with action, you can see how everything snowballs into the way that this framework is built. And then we can do the last one, which is measure, which is track, adjust, and improve. So the purpose of this is to create feedback loops to adapt fast to changes that may happen. And with that comes the core principle of what gets measured gets optimized. And with this, the question comes, what metrics show that we're progressing, and where do we need to iterate? Because as I like to say, iteration is the key to innovation. And if you can't iterate on what you did in V1, then you're not going to know what are the steps that you need to take in order to iterate on V2. And that's where everything that we've spoken about in terms of decisions, in terms of clarity, and also action comes into play. And with that, we can have an example of a percentage of features delivered on time, client satisfaction score post delivery. So this is also very important. It's very useful in terms of how satisfied our clients were and how can we improve onto the next project. And with that, the time from inquiry to close deal and profit margin on the project. So we can have this plug and play template like the other ones, which is metrics tracked, and then we list all our metrics: metric 1, metric 2, metric 3, review every X days and iterate accordingly. This could be every month, every 3 months. It just depends on what it is exactly that you're looking to basically track. So with this, we can have real world examples of implementation of this, which is example 1. Let's say we have a CRM custom build that we need to make. So the objective is deliver an automated CRM system by X date that eliminates 5 manual tasks per client. And also with the objectives, we need to be as specific as we possibly can, because if we're as specific as we possibly can, then we know that whatever comes in the future, we know that we have specified everything and we know what exactly we are aiming for. So specificity is key in that regard. And with that comes the decisions, which is use Firebase or Postgres, or integrate Twilio or native SMS or Stripe for payments. And then clarification, confirm UI flow in Figma, finalize data mapping, and then the action is design team delivers prototype, dev team starts sprint 1, quality assurance is scheduled, and then we measure this by client feedback at milestone, bug rate, and delivery rate. So you can see how all of these different, how the acronym builds on top of each other, which is basically start from the objectives and then ends at measurement. So this, now we can also see this in example 2, which is the sales sprint, which the objective is to close 3 clients at 10K by X date. And then the decisions are: who is the ICP, what is the offer positioning, channel of outreach, and then the clarification is review lead quality list, assign on pitch deck, which is also very, very important because you need to be as clear as you possibly can be. And then the action would be 20 outreach messages a day with 5 booked calls per week. And then measure would basically be call conversion rate and deal close rate, which are all very important because you need to understand your metrics. And then saying that, we now have the execution tip, which is don't use ODCAM once, use it every week. Make it part of your leadership DNA. And this is the final thoughts for the team, which is OCDAM is how we work faster, work better than anyone else. How we work faster, smarter, and better than anyone else. It's not optional. It's how we execute at scale and hit our goals for the year. Every task, every project we build, ODCAM it. And then you're not just executing tasks, you're solving real problems at the highest level. Let's build relentlessly. And this is the framework that I use internally for my team. And if you guys got any value of it, please let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.